And welcome out to the returning Trade Masters presented by Tackle Trading. This is Coach Frank. I'm here with Coach Matt. This is something we used to do back in the day. We're picking it right back up where we left off. It's super excited about it. No doubt about it, where Matt and myself or whoever is here during the show will each pitch a couple of different trade ideas. We'll bounce them off of one another, kind of talk through our thought process. If there's a particular strategy in mind, we'll kind of talk through that as well. Hopefully to give all of us, myself included, some midweek trade ideas, just some traders talking trading. Super excited to be here with the team. Before we get into business, though, welcome out Team Tackle. We are having our Master Trader this upcoming Monday and Tuesday. And let me tell you, and you can ask any of our pro members this, if you haven't been to that course, it is time to get to that course. Every trader is going to learn something. I don't care if you're brand new or you've been in the game for years and years. You're going to learn a little something out of the Master Trader, free to all of our pro members. And if you're not a pro member, never a better day than today to get signed up as a pro member. You can just head over to tackletrading.com, get signed up with a free 15-day trial, take advantage of everything that we're doing here, from our coaches shows, the Tackle newsletter, our traders reports, our daily traders lounge, and that Master Trader course. You might have a 15-day trial, but you're going to stick around a little bit longer than that, I would suspect. So super excited for Master Trader. We'll see the team there, no doubt about it. Maddie, my friend, before we officially get underway, partner, how you doing today?
Doing very well. Excited to be here with the team. Excited for Trade Masters again. I have missed Trade Masters. We were reminiscing before we went live here today about the last time we did Trade Masters, and we love Trade Masters. We're excited to do it. We're going to bring it back weekly, Frankie, and we're going to have a lot of fun on our YouTube channel. And if you want to join us at Tackle Trading, obviously there's links in the description below for both signing up for a pro membership as well as joining us in Master Trader. And you won't regret either one of them. We have a lot of fun at Tackle Trading. So let's get into it. And kind of what we're gonna do here is, Frankie, you got a couple trade ideas. I got a couple trade ideas. So we got two rounds. Round one, round two. It can be anything you want. It's not swing trade against swing trade. Anything you want. You pitch your idea. I pitch my idea, and then just team let us know which one you prefer. Not an official vote count here, Frankie, but we probably will keep an unofficial vote count
Sure, of course we will.
to a certain extent. But where do you want to start, brother?
Well, listen, I'm a gentleman. I'm going to allow you to take the first crack here today. And you're going, this is a good choice. You're going with Abby V here. I'm excited to hear you talk me through it because I see this thing and I start salivating.
Yeah, I think it tells a very compelling technical story here. And my first trade idea here is Abby V. Just a simple swing trade more than anything here, Frankie. And the technical story is a pretty decent little technical story. First and foremost, we're seeing indexes such as RSP, Dow Jones. Obviously, the Russell 2000 went absolute ham here today. We're seeing a cyclical move to a certain extent, and ABV is certainly part of that. We're looking at a potential breakout, not a potential breakout. We're looking at a confirmation breakout of that 200 level. And that's really where the technical story kind of starts here, Frankie. You got a bunch of chop here after the positive earnings report. And a lot of times when you're dealing with earnings, you're going to have rules around earnings. And for example, for me, I can't do anything 2 days before an earnings, and I can't do anything 2 days after an earnings, Frankie. I got to let the volatility play out. And that's where like patience is a position, but that's based on a lot of, quite frankly, Frankie, try to find somebody who's broken down more earnings than I have in the last 10 years. Try to
It's a
find
tough task. I
you're
don't want to try
not
to.
going to find it. And it's not just about understanding the fundamental condition, it's about understanding the technical landscape that happens after an earnings report. You had a positive earnings beat, gap up, sell down, fill that gap. But really, what you're looking at in post secondary in post earnings analysis is where does that secondary pattern form up? And that secondary pattern is usually we're looking at a breakout, pullback, whatever the case might be. But in here, you got that cleaned up right around a significant whole number, right at that 200 level. Now, Frankie, it's not just the daily chart, secondary pattern on the earnings here. Good high base, kissed off the 90 MA. That is a beautiful situation technically. when your consolidation and your pattern development here, i.e. the high base, buys enough time in development that that 9 EMA catches up, that's usually a really positive sign for price appreciation. Now, when you come out to the longer storyline here, I think you're also looking at a multiple time frame break against that $200 level as well. We've seen that level get tested multiple times. We're now clearing that level as well on the weekly chart. And so the entry here, when you're looking at kind of the entry and making the decision for the entry, you're really looking at your zone, your level, that $200 resistance level, and you're saying, okay, we got wicks up there, wick, 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 5 wicks up there. What do we want to see? We want to see a confirmation close. What next do we want to see? We want to see that order get in above the high of the day. Secondarily, where would you place a stop loss? Two levels that I would consider placing a stop loss here, Frankie. Number one would be just underneath the candle low if I just wanted to play the bar, and that also gets me underneath the intraday resistance levels as well as that $200 level. If you wanted to give it a little bit more room, and I certainly think you can do that because you're targeting up around 215 on this ultimately, that 9 EMA is always going to be a target for our stop loss placement. That's the secondary placement. So one right underneath the low. Secondarily, if you wanted to be a little bit more conservative, would be right underneath the 197 level. So entry above the high, stop one of those two levels, depending on how aggressive or conservative you are. Now, the question is, where can this bad boy go? Well, when I look at the weekly chart here, Frankie, you kind of toppity tip top here at about 215 in my estimation. I don't think you can say going into a swing trade, I think we're going to run from 200 to 215, and then even on top of that, without some degree of secondary development in pattern development.
Right.
And so I do think you're maxed out at around 215. That's kind of the daily tippity top there. You also got a 210 pivot here that you have to take into account as well. So I'm looking at T1 at 210, T2 at 215, and from a strategy perspective, this will be an option trade. I'm thinking slightly out of the money and from a not slightly out of the money, this 33 Delta contract right here at 210. So it's a 210 call option, slightly out of the money, just looking to make it into an in the money option, make a little money along that freight train here. What's your thoughts on the ABB trade? And team, tell me about it as well. Do you like the setup?
Oh, I absolutely love that setup. Are you kidding me? That was on my short list of things I wanted to talk about today. When we were meeting before we kicked off, you picked him, and I thought, okay, there's one I don't have to debate anymore. 100% on board with you. Very clean window, right? There's a little bit of junk, and we're going to have to navigate that. But I think into the top of that range is perfectly reasonable for that secondary target. So I like the using the 9 EMA, but you know me, I'm usually going to anchor towards that. Yeah, you got my vote.
Awesome.
I'm voting against
Awesome.
myself.
Let's see what you got, brother. Let me vote against myself.
All right, all right, I like it. I'm going with SRAD. It wasn't something that I was intending to do because I want to dial in, but we can talk a little bit about that here today. SRAD just broke through literally everything, right? I mean, it basically has broke through, I think when you go into it from a monthly perspective, it really, really stands out. We very recently broke the IPO high. You know me and my IPO highs, right? I like marches up to them, and I like breaks through them. These guys just kind of doing it both, right? And then you look at this candle on the weekly time frame.
Am I on the right one?
Yep.
SRAD,
Yep.
right?
Yep. SRAD. Yep. You're on the right one. So you just have to go way back in the day.
Yeah.
Now we broke today on a big bar. Now this is one, and my Delta dogs will know this. I always ask for a high inside bar, simply meaning tomorrow, the low of the day is kind of towards the middle part of today's candle, but the high of tomorrow is a little bit below that. So it lets that 9 creep up a little bit, basically getting a little bit of consolidation. And that's kind of what I'm hoping happens. But
So
it's going
like this, Frankie, just like
exactly right. That and ideally 2 candles that look like that. I think that's like, if I could paint the picture, that's exactly what tomorrow and the next day would look like.
all in
And then
the 3 bar high base break.
3 bar high base breakout. But we are in price discovery mode, right? And so when these things, I mean, think about, I mean, I know these guys aren't hood or roadblocks, but just technically, when those stocks did ultimately break through those IPO highs, there just was nothing in the way. And there were good conditions in the market, sure, but just kept on trucking, right? The simple reality is when you get into price appreciation mode, I don't know what the limit is. I don't know what the fair ultimate market value of SRAD is here, right? It might be 31, it might be 131. I don't know, but I do think it's worth a play to see if we can find that out. So going into tomorrow, I know what I want. I want the couple, at least one, ideally two high inside bars there. And if we were to get that,
Especially
then
on
that,
Thursday, Friday going in.
especially on a Thursday, Friday, right? And if we do get that, then the stop loss just underneath the whatever ends up being the lows of those candles. But momentum's a heck of a thing. If this guy is running tomorrow, it ain't going to surprise me. So I'm going to have to build my entry accordingly, right? I'm going to have to say, okay, well, am I comfortable with this going from a bar by bar perspective, right? Going over the high, because much like ABV and basically everything, we always want to get price confirmation, right? So my trigger is over today's high. Underneath today's low is it's a wide stop loss, but it's not an outrageously wide stop loss. I don't believe personally. Again, ideally I get a little tighter stop and better risk to reward, but we'll see when and if we get those high inside candlesticks. I like going under the bar, but I'll give two like you did. Now I would choose under the bar personally for my stop loss, but if you're just like that's just too much for me on this, just going underneath that high that we put in, that little swing high that we broke out of here today on top of the other price action from back in July, getting underneath that level, which is going to be under that 30 mark, 29.80 something in the ballpark, underneath 30, right?
Well,
I think
that's what you're hoping your stop loss is after two inside bars.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So we're kind of thinking, well, if we pick up right where we left off tomorrow and just follow through this, there's a good chance that's enough room, right? And if we did get the development, you were kind of hoping that you nailed it. That's exactly where you'd want that development to happen. So I don't think you have to go all the way under today's bar. I am notorious that I typically give things more room on a stop loss than less. That's just kind of who I am, right?
Yep.
But I do think both of them play. Quite honestly, your guess is as good as mine from a targeting perspective. But realistically, just this most recent range, we've been going, between 26 and 31. So I think, a target of 35 is kind of 35 and manage from there. Because again, I don't know. I've seen way too many price discovery situations that blew away my expectations. I don't think 35 is an outrageous target. And if we're kind of coming underneath that 30 level, whether we get, triggered tomorrow or we get those inside, high bars over the next couple of days, that's going to put us well over 3-1 on the risk to reward side of things.
Pay on the weeklies would target 36 on breakout analysis.
So
35
yeah,
to 36.
so 35 to 36, yeah. And so I think those are perfectly reasonable targets for this. And then I think it becomes a management. So it's one of those where you can kind of say whatever you want to be T1, right? A lot of times for me, I kind of say, well, what's 1-to-1? Because that's kind of my action
Honestly,
point,
it's
right?
most likely a stop loss trailing management
But yes, realistically, it's, around
your price
35,
discovery mode.
36. We start,
You don't want to
we
stop
start
loss
just
management.
dragging along with that 90 MA. The options are
Yeah.
weak here. So, and the price isn't too, prohibitive. So this one would be a stock play. Just don't think there's anything you can do. I wouldn't feel comfortable playing the options. And it'd feel a little different if it was a $300 stock, but at $30, it doesn't price us out. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing much higher than where it is, by the end of the quarter. Honestly, I would be surprised if this breakout holds.
Would you say this is more position or swing for you?
I think it's probably where I usually fall swing
The
into
swinger.
position,
Yeah.
where I tend to fall into that. I wouldn't go bar by bar on the stop loss, right? Personally. So yeah, it would be a long swing or swing into position, because I don't know that you can expect to just fly to 35, 36 without any consolidation, any pullback, any secondary type of pattern.
You'd be asking it from going 26 to 36 to 33%.
Exactly.
Second.
Exactly. I can ask, but I can't expect, right? So
If it ends up doing that, you're not unhappy, but that's a tall ask. It is.
exactly. That's a little tricky. So I do think it falls more into the, but typically that's kind of my style is kind of the long swing.
The lazy swing trader is what
Yeah,
I describe.
yeah, like the trend trader more,
Yeah,
right? So more than the, prototypical swing trader. So that's my pitch for
I
SRAD. I
like it. I
think I
like it.
get a little consolidation, and we're having this conversation on Friday in the scanner report meeting, but I think you got to be ready for it going into tomorrow.
All right, team, if you're live, let us know which one you prefer. Do you like the Abby V trade or do you like the SRAD trade? Swing to position on SRAD, pure swing on the Abby V trade. If you're watching the on the overnight on the recording, hit us up in the comment section and let us know which one you prefer there as well. I like them both. I will take my Abby V trade.
I like them both. I will take my SRAD trade.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
It's a Momo type of trade, and it was mine, right? I do really like your
I'll tell you,
ABV.
if you get your two inside bars that you asked for, I might be convinced above ABV there.
So yeah,
You
so
know me, I have a hard time chasing momentum candles. I love secondary development on them. Like I love
yeah,
that inside bar analysis on the intraday. Oh, that
it
just makes my day trading
it
eyes just
it
love to
cleans
see
it
the
up
trade
so
there.
much.
It
Yeah,
does.
I mean, I hope that's what we
It does.
get. I think that is a better situation if we do get that.
Yeah.
But I'll be prepared tomorrow morning either way. But listen, the beautiful thing is really I can play them both.
That is true. And if you do love Frank's analysis, and I do love Frank's analysis, obviously is in the Traders Lounge every day with Tackle Trading. And then he runs his own trading lab called the Delta Dogs. We love our dogs. We love our
We do love our dogs. Yeah, come over. There's always room in my life for another trader. Always room for one
dogs.
more member
Just.
of the
All right.
pack.
So round two, Frank, you want to go first on round two? You want
Yeah, I'll go first on round two. Gosh, this is a tough one. I feel like you're
we'll do a like a slight 2 minute like
okay. We'll do
because
okay.
I got two or three I was considering as well.
Yeah, that's how we operate, right?
We like to get them out there. So
We two is impossible for me. Okay, so all right, I'm gonna go with AXP then. And then I can cheat with somebody else. I think AXP is particularly intriguing here. This last high around that 330 level, basically that was its old all-time high range. So when you think about this from a weekly point of view, this is a developing weekly cup and handle, but we're just in the development of that handle at this point in time, right? Nice little pullback situation going on. We've just taken out the trend line here, and that also lined up with the 50 daily, also the 9 on the weekly, but more notably, at least to
structural
me,
support right underneath.
structural support off of some long-term weekly moving averages, puncturing through that 50-day moving average here today. We got that smiling 9 going on, right? So we're starting to see that 9 that's been floating, falling down below that falling 20 for a little bit now, finally turning around. Hasn't given us that crossover signal just yet, but certainly looks like it wants to do that now. I used to call this a bullish alligator mouth because all my alligator mouths are bearish. But Bobby D over at Tackle Trading christened it the Pelican Beak. So blame him for that name, but that is what we got here.
So can we call it the beak?
This is the beak. Yeah, this is the beak here, pushing through this trend line. There's going to be a little bit of
Beak
junk.
is a weekly pullback, basically.
Yes, you basically there's really not much in the form of
With
resistance. You've got the little swing
a
and then the
W.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just don't really have a lot of legitimate challenges back up in towards those highs. You got a lot of junk, but nothing that's particularly scary
Nothing
uh,
scary.
in my mind. So I like this guy coming in over today's high. Now I think there's a couple of ways. I wish they had $5 strike prices on their monthly options, but they don't. So stock plays will play, right? You can play shares, but that is an expensive. It's not like SRAD, who it's pretty easy to go with some
Yeah.
shares here.
A little different on $306 stock.
Little bit different on that. But you can jump out into September or even October and go with an out of the money spread like the 310, 330.
I don't
If
think
you
you're paying that much to go buy a little bit more time here. I would do the 65.
you like that, yeah, I don't, yeah, it's not noticeable at all. And if you really were aggressive, I think it was the September's where I was at 330, 340. That one was pretty cheap. That one you're swinging big, but it's really big risk to reward, more traditional around that 310, 330. for the strike prices, I think makes some sense with a stop loss under the 9. And if you just wanted to pop a call here, I would start out of the money, kind of like you talked about on IBB.
Yeah.
I think you start at 310. I think 315 would be great, but there's not a 315 for me. So
Yeah.
if you just wanted to pop a call, the 310, maybe you roll it into a spread as you work into that space.
You're thinking cheap spread 320 by 330, or if you wanted to be aggressive, the 310 out of the money call option on the shorter time frame.
So yeah, I think either of them play here. I do think that, like, I mean, we have to factor in time decay on the option. So what I'm just thinking about the literal amount of time, not the effect the time has on the option. I think September is plenty of time for
Oh,
us
yeah.
to get back into these highs. We have to kind of navigate that. That is the downside of going with the September. We can offset that with some movement, and it's not quite as rough, starting a little bit out of the money. And I mean, we're going to be in the money really quick with, one ATR move. That 310's in the money, right? So we're not drastically out of that. So I think there's a little bit of dealer's choice here, right?
Mhm.
310 call, the 310, 330 for October isn't unreasonable. I don't think aggressively like a 330, 340, if you just want something that's cheap and swing big for September.
I think you could even widen the range and make it a bigger return. You'd
Oh,
obviously
absolutely.
take
Yeah,
more risk. I think
there's
that's what
options, no
you.
pun intended, right?
Well, that's
There's
the thing about this AXP, and Mark just made a comment in YouTube. He said, I like the AXP chart. A lot of different strategies play here. I think you could,
exactly.
you're doing a 10-point spread. I think you could do a 20-point spread here just fine. I think you could do an out of the money spread. I think you do a structured. It, you can do whatever you want, honestly.
You can do yeah, it's a big window, right? Lots of ways to play it, to knock it down, just what's going to feel most comfortable.
Awesome.
But
But you're
yeah, I'm
definitely on your spread, you're definitely selling the 330s. Is that it's got or are you
if I'm doing the October, I am. I don't think you definitely have to, but yes, to answer your question, I would. I don't think you
okay.
have to, but I would
Yeah,
do
I
that.
I like that technique. I like selling at the max target, and I don't think you could target more than 330 here.
No, I don't. Listen, I hope I'm wrong, right? That because that means 330 was easy.
Yeah.
So, but I don't expect that. So yeah, I think I probably side with the 310, 330, whether you're going September, October. Like you said, October doesn't cost you a whole lot more, so why not have it?
I'd like the
Stop.
more time here, just in case.
I do too. I do too. I mean, again, it's a price, right? If it cost me twice as much for that, I probably
Well,
wouldn't. But
any consolidation you see forth, and you're going to start getting eat by theta if you're in that short term one.
yep, exactly. At least let the 9 work on the stop loss. You can certainly make a case with the Octobers to let that trend line and that support level hold up, but at least let the 9 EMA work for you. I would say from an exit stram point of view.
All right. So AXP bull call spread was Frankie's second trade idea. I like the technical setup here, and I think strategy wise, a lot of different strategies can
A lot
play.
of
I
ways to go
personally
about it. Yeah.
like the bull call spread. I like the little bit wider range on the bull call spread, but I don't mind the tight range there either. A little bit of a cheapy bull call spread there. All right, my pick in round two here. Um, I was thinking, I talked to the team in Traders Lounge yesterday and talked a little bit about the day before as well. My second trade idea is kind of outside the active, aggressive swing trading. It's more position to invest, Frankie.
Okay, I like
And
it.
whenever I'm talking about that, I think people know I'm talking about tackle 25 and covered calls here. Now, I'm not pitching a cover call on Academy Sports. I think I'm in the mood for price discovery here on Academy
Okay,
Sports. But what I am thinking about is utilizing Academy Sports within the existing trend because I do think we're developing something here on Academy Sports. And I really like the King's bet off the 200-day
so
moving
pretty.
average. I really like the weekly pullback here, Frankie, to the 90 MA. This thing looks like it wants to giddy up and go, go, go. A constant outperformance the last two trading sessions. We're seeing cyclicals move, small caps move, mid caps move, Dow Jones cyclical move. We're seeing quite a bit of aggressive movement here now that these smaller companies don't have to fight as much interest rates moving into the future with the Fed kind of solidifying three cuts by the end of the year. Coach Mark, I'm looking forward to that steak dinner because there's going to get three cuts by the end of the year. Market is fully pricing in a cut in September. They have basically three cuts priced in between now and December, and that's going to do nothing but help the cyclicals, in my opinion. ASO obviously being a part of that. And so I do think one of the reasons we're seeing relative outperformance on small, mid, IWM went just absolute ham here today is because the rate cut situation is getting priced in. Now, it gets priced in, you're not going to continue to see this type of movement here, Frankie. What you're
Right.
going to see is it kind of set in my estimation in terms of a prototypical trend here. And I do think if you're looking for a technical entry point perspective, you want to see 57 get dialed in from a technical perspective. My point is this weekly trend, the daily trend looks absolutely fantastic. But it's not just that about Academy Sports. When you're thinking longer term, not just shorter term, I'm not just thinking about doing a position trade covered call where you buy the stock, sell the call option at a level you want to get taken from you, although I think that plays here on Academy Sports as well. But I want to use this one for a while here, okay, to generate cash flow. And so what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the fundamental landscape of Academy Sports. And I think the fundamental conversations, we geek out on technicals, we geek out on market conversations. We don't talk about the fundamental conditions nearly as much, although when you're doing something a little bit longer term, Frankie, not the short term, I think they're a little bit more important to
Oh,
talk
absolutely.
about. And so I want to just kind of walk through some of the fundamentals of Academy Sports here. Now, Academy Sports is a Tackle 25 stock. It's a fundamental darling. The fundamentals are rock stars. You can get in at the price tag of 55, right? It has a forward PE ratio of 8 right now, which means you're paying $8 for every $1 of future EPS. That is
Yep.
downright cheap, Frankie, downright cheap.
Yeah.
It's got a PE ratio of close to 10. It's at 9.56 right now. So when the forward PE ratio is underneath the regular PE ratio, that's a positive sign moving into the future. When it's opposite, that's a negative sign. But the sector, consumer discretionary, has a 27 PE ratio. Its industry, Academy Sports Industries, got a 23 PE ratio. Academy Sports has a 1.31 PEG ratio, which is slightly elevated, but not too concerning. The Tackle 25 score, which I score every stock on the Tackle 25 from 0 to 100. There's basically a scoring system that are ranked 10 different fundamental criterias. It pops out at 73. Now you might say 73 out of 100 is not very good. You think if this was a real academy, you'd be like, "Oh, that's a C," right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not in Matt Justice's scoring system, I can
No,
tell
that's
you
not how
that.
that works.
No, 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 no. I am very conservative on the scoring system. And so you have to be great to get into the 70s, quite frankly. In fact, out of every stock I score in the system, Frankie, and there's thousands of them. Out of every stock, there's like 14 of them above 70. That's how conservative the scoring system.
Yeah, that's a good score.
And
Yeah.
so I just kind of feel when you're looking at Academy Sports from a fundamental perspective, you're saying, yeah, I have confidence on the valuation side. I have confidence on the fundamental side. And so the ultimate question when you're doing something a little bit longer term and you're selecting an asset class that you want to create cash flow on, because I'm not just looking at this from a growth perspective, I'm looking at this from a cash flow perspective. And I'm saying, okay, fundamentally, we look pretty good here. Well, I now come into the technicals here, and yeah, I wish I could giddy up and go back in time and say, "Ooh, I wish I could have got this breakout against the 200-day moving average. That was beautiful." But this is really the first technical pattern since then that was kind of pristine,
Yeah.
and just coming out of that king's bed right now. So
Ooh.
this is not a targeting conversation. This is not a stop loss conversation. This is a longer term asset that I'm looking to develop cash flow on in the short term. And so if you're looking at doing that, basically what you do is you come down and you wouldn't do the 30-day number. You got a little bit of too wide bid-ask spreads here on the weekly options, but you can go out to September here, 37 days out, go park that 32 delta contract right there at 60 and bring
Oh,
in you a nice little buck 55 of cash flow.
yeah, that's not
And that
bad.
buck 55 of cash flow, Frankie, is about 3% ROI
Yeah.
without margin. It's about 6% ROI with margin. So I'm getting a massively low value company, one that I have a strong opinion on, one that I have some history with. And I got a technical condition where I got a weekly pullback, a daily condition where I got a king's bet off the 200-day moving average, a volatility condition that allows me to create 3% cash flow and allows me to maximize the range and still capture a little bit of growth. Because even if you write that cover call today at 60, you're still maximizing $5 of growth. You add on top the buck 50 in cash flow. Even
Yeah.
if you did the position trade covered call,
Yeah,
that
I
is
was
an
thinking.
outstanding.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, even if you just want to just
If
play
that's
it
all you
like
were
it,
doing,
yeah,
that
yeah.
is an outstanding position trader covered call. One of the best in the market, in my opinion, right now. But I also like it from a longer term perspective. And so I still like the $60 call option. I'm going to manage the $60 call option, but my pitch is a position trade analysis. As long as this trend is either neutral or bullish, we're writing covered calls on it.
I love it. I love it. Now you know me, I'm more of the covered call to get taken away guy, but you sum it
Listen,
up. I mean,
if you're
that
that
thing
guy,
gets taken away, Seb, that's
sell
six.
to 57 and a half, bring in $2.40 cash flow, maximize that cash flow rate. I'm telling you, it's a great position trade. It's a great position to investment. It's just a vehicle. I think you can do
It's
that.
yeah, I figured you were gonna bring this one today. I'm glad you did because
Cover
there's
calls aren't sexy unless you know what the power of the cover
yeah,
call.
but yes, do a cover call on ASO next for the next year, every month, and all of a sudden they are sexy, right?
Yeah.
I like it.
Go
I like it.
compound a buck 50 off a small account
I
for the
like the
next
60.
year.
I
See
like
what happens.
for the trade, right? To be called out. I like the
Okay.
60. Open that up a little bit. Yeah, really good return.
So
Very
we got
nice.
two options here, right? We got the ASO situation where you basically have a covered call analysis, right? So which one do you guys prefer on the second picks here? Let's hear it.
Ooh,
Which one are you, Frankie?
I'm gonna vote against myself on this one. I really like the ASO. Uh, I've relied on the
ASO or
tackle
AXP?
20. I'm ASO. I'm joining you. I rely a lot on the tackle 25 because I am not a fan of the fundamentals. I understand they're important. I just don't like to dig into them.
You just
Uh,
rely on me and Greg to produce the analysis.
yes, I do.
The same way I rely on you to produce all those amazing picks for the Traders Report every single week, and I blindly just accept the analysis. Yes.
Exactly. There's a lot to do in the world of trading. It's
You
nice to
can't,
have some friends that you can
gotta have
rely on,
trusted
right?
friends. Very
Uh,
true.
yeah, I'm gonna. I mean, I do like the AXP situation quite a bit, but if I had to pick one, I got lots of swing trades I can choose from. I'm gonna go with the AXO. I like selling the 60 to get called out. If I don't, great, I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'm gonna vote for Academy here against myself.
I like them both. I do like them both. I like the credit. I like the debit spread on AXP. I think technically it's very sound, very sound. I just think that's a really good cover call on ASO
It is.
with
Yeah.
the
That what you can get at 60 and 37 days out on something you like that's showing well. I
I've heard
expect
a lot of covered call writers complain about the cash flow they're bringing in due to volatility. You can't complain that
no,
on
you can't
ASO.
complain there. I feel like you're going to be having to
You're
roll that
getting
thing
more
up.
premium than you deserve, and I'm dead serious.
Yeah,
You're
that's a
getting
night. Yeah.
more premium on ASO. Market makers messing up a little bit. You're getting more premium than it deserves on ASO.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. That was the first thing that came to my head when you were looking at the 30 Delta contracts like that. Oh, get that. Like I know it's 37 days instead of 30, but it's 7 days, right?
Well,
It's
Frankie,
nice.
that's Trade Masters,
Well, that
two
was
coaches
fun.
from tackle trading coming in, pitching a couple trade ideas apiece. What do you guys think about Trade Masters today? Did you guys enjoy it? You looking forward to another week next week of Trade Masters?
Oh, heavens, yes. Very much enjoyed it. A couple thoughts I had. It was great to be back. I enjoyed doing it before. I enjoy doing it now. I might be a little hairier than I was last time that we were doing it, but blame it on the age, right? Blame it
Listen,
on
you've
the
been out here than 3 days, so
it's true. It might be a little longer than that. might be a little longer than that, but absolutely a great time, and appreciate everybody joining us here today. And of course, if this is your first time at the channel, always helpful for hopefully you and us as well. If you do hit that subscribe button, if you enjoyed the show, you know, the YouTube algorithm thing, the likes are always really, really helpful. We certainly do appreciate it. So if you like it, like it. If you're
Maybe I
not yet
just
a
have to say something
subscriber,
positive about YouTube to get, we love you guys, YouTube. We love
we
YouTube.
do love you,
And
YouTube.
Google,
We
you were so close to getting some love from Trade Masters. Just so we said what we needed to do about YouTube. Did you have a radar candidate you wanted to hurry and put out there?
Yeah, okay. I'll throw O'Reilly, ORLY, on for a radar candidate. This one's super simple. This is just a good old-fashioned nine bouncer, right? Uh
Mm,
Breakout of all-time highs, a little bit of a pullback, getting into the 90 MA, go
shallow
or don't
flag.
situation. Everybody at Tackle knows what that means, right? Cheap risk, good reward. I think it's worth keeping an eye on.
I like that radar candidate. I have a radar candidate as well, and it was really close for me, Frankie. Really close for me. I really like the development on Amazon. Earnings gap down analysis was based on just solely based on Azure not being as high quality this quarter as Google and Microsoft, but they had wonderful beats, a wonderful revenue handle. Guidance was fine. CapEx spending is fine. And the secondary development on a pattern is a bear stop out kissing against 295 that has a very, very big edge, in my opinion, to gap fill here. And so Amazon was a little bit of a radar candidate for me. I do like the development quite a bit.
Yeah,
Um, I had ASO on my mind. I've had ASO on my mind for the last 3 days. Um, See, that's why you guys should be pro members of Tackle Trading because I originally pitched ASO yesterday in the Traders Lounge. You could have caught some of that movement today.
exactly. Could have
Um,
snagged a little off
but
that.
uh,
Yeah.
but so that ASO has been on my mind a little bit. But the real debate was AbbVie versus Amazon for me, and you know me, a gap fill versus a multiple time frame breakout. Like
It's going to be a tough. I'll just say this. I like your call out there on Amazon, and going 16 days out to the 235, 240, 240, 250 broke wing butterfly. It's only going to run you about $50, bro. You get a little pop here. $50 could
I
turn into a
kind of
lot
feel
more.
like some Delta dogs are going to be lobbing some cheapies out there.
I feel like there are going to be some Delta dogs lobbing some cheapies. If they haven't already, I know my dogs, some of them already have lobbed some cheapies. So
Uh, yes, I would I would agree with that 100%. Yes, yes, yes. All right, Frankie, thank you so much for hanging out with me on Trade
my pleasure.
Masters.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you
Uh,
for having me. Thank you, team.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me and Coach Frank as we relaunch Trade Masters. Once again, we will bring it back next week, every week on Wednesday. Might adjust the
Nice.
time. We're just trying to figure out kind of the overall times for when we go live. But on our YouTube channel, we're going to be going live every single week on at least two things. One, the Trading Justice podcast on Monday afternoons, Trade Master on Wednesday. And so definitely get excited for the live streams on the Tackle Trading YouTube
Heck
channel.
yeah.
We're also going to be posting videos every single week to the YouTube channel, educational resources, short form videos, tutorials. Coach Gino just recorded a toss how to use drawing tools appropriately. I just watched it. It was fantastic. I look
Nice.
forward to our community learning a little bit about that as well. So that video should be out on our YouTube channel tomorrow. But most importantly, guys, if you are a pro member of Tackle Trading, join me in Master Trader next Monday and Tuesday, and come learn how to trade like the pros of Trade Masters at Tackle Trading do. It's a 2-day event. We're going to spend the first day on technical analysis, get into application and options on day 2. Coach Matt, myself, Coach Gino, we're going to be teaching Master Trader next week. So you get a little bit of the best of both worlds. Me on the technical side of the equation, Coach Gino on the option side of the equation.
Love it.
And so if you are looking for a foundational class to start your trading, to learn how to do this the right way, come join us at Tackle Trading. You could sign up for a free trial simply by hitting register now. You can get a free trial. You see that cost, Frankie?
That
Zero.
is $0. Listen,
That
I
is
love cheap.
zero
I
dollars.
love zero.
$0. And so you get a free trial at Tackle Trading. You can test out Master Trader, the Traders Report, the newsletter, the Traders Lounge, the Coaches Show, Cash Flow Club, you name it. You can enjoy the entire community. Hopefully, we see you there. And until next week, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of the week. We'll see the pros in tackle trading.
Later, team.